with the risk of being doubly redundant. Happy Father's Day, everybody. Today I'm going to speak about the heart of a father. I didn't really realize this till I was reading through Luke chapter 15, verses 1 through 32. And it talks about the prodigal son. But when I was looking at it more deeply, not only did it talk about the prodigal son, but it also talked about three different things that were lost. It came about because the scribes and the Pharisees were noticing that Jesus was hanging out with sinners, and that torqued them. It was like, how come you can't hang out with us? How come you got to be over here at the beer joint talking to the... But that's who Jesus' heart was after. And if you know anything about Jesus, he said, I only do what I see the Father do. I only say what I hear the Father say. So when you see Jesus, you see the heart of the Father. Do you understand that? If Jesus says, I only do what the Father does, I only say what the Father does, then whatever you see Jesus do, that's how his Father rolls. So when they said that and rebuked him for hanging out with sinners and publicans, he said, let me tell you a couple stories. And of course, that was to fulfill a prophecy that talked about Jesus being one that would speak in parables. And that would be his MO, would be that he would not speak directly. A lot of times he'd speak in a story, and you had to figure out what the point was. It'd be like talking in a parable, and you had to figure out what the moral of the story was. So first he talked about the missing coin. He talked about missing sheep. He said one guy had 100 sheep, and he said one of them went missing. And he said, if y'all had 100 sheep and one of them went missing, would you hang out with the 99, or would you go looking for the one? And he said, when you find it, you put it on your shoulders, and you carry it home, and you say, hey, guys, rejoice, I found my sheep. We're starting to see the heart of the Father. The shepherd represents the Father. He's after that one sheep that got away. I know he's got 99, but he's after that one sheep, the one prodigal sheep, if you will. They just kind of wandered off. When everyone went that way, he went this way, and after a while, now it's getting dark, and he's caught in the brambles. The shepherd goes looking for him, leaves these other, and goes looking for the one. Who's ever been a prodigal? Who's ever been the one that no one cared about, maybe, or he felt like no one cared about? His second parable, he talks about a woman had 10 coins, and one of them is missing. Did she say, oh, heck, who cares? I got 9. It's all right. No. Turns all the lights on. Starts to sweep the whole house so she can find that one. And when she finds it, she says, hey, guys, rejoice with me. I found the one. What are you hearing? It's the importance of that one that's missing, the one that got away. We're starting to see the heart of the Father. The heart of the Son is the heart of the Father. He said, when you've seen me, you've seen the Father. Remember that verse? That's what he's talking about. You see me? You're looking at the image of the one you cannot see. The third story he talks about. He said the father had 2 sons. And I thought this was a story of the 2 sons. But if you really think about it later on, when you hear the moral of the story and you see the whole story in its totality, you'll notice it's more about the father. The 2 sons. And you all know the story. A quick summary is that the younger son says, Dad, I want my inheritance now. So his dad says, okay. So in order to get the inheritance, he has to sell off the North 40. Now they've just got half as much. Because he's got 2 sons. He says, I want half of it. You die tomorrow, I want my half. This is going to be mine. Dad says, good. A couple weeks later, the kid takes all that money and he goes far away, and he wastes it with riotous living, prodigal living. Probably wasn't what he was brought up to be. He did everything his mama told him not to do, and grandma said, now, if I ever catch you doing that. Well, he did it, because no one was around. He's in the far country. He thought even God couldn't see him, Wrong. Well, then, as things happened, the situation changed, and now there's a famine in the land. And he had spent all his money, buying friends, having parties, staying up late, carrying on. Squandered all of his living. Now he's destitute. And he goes and finds this job working at a pig farm. And one day, he's so hungry, he said, even the food the pigs are eating, the pig slop. You ever seen pig slop? It's everything that you don't want in the kitchen goes in the pig slop bowl, and they get it, and they tend to devour it. Well, that's what he's looking at, and it's starting to look good. That's when you're hungry, Mike. And the Bible says he came to himself. That means when he had his head in the trough, all of a sudden he's like, wait a minute. What's wrong with this picture, as we are known to say? And he says, what am I doing? The parties are over. It's not partying anymore. He's hit rock bottom. Sometimes we talk about people, we say, well, we got to wait till they hit rock bottom. And then all of a sudden they'll look up. A lot of us have hit rock bottom. Or it was real close, wasn't it, Mike? Okay, so what we have to do is, he said, wait a minute. I come from an affluent home. Even my dad's servants are eating better than I am. What am I thinking? All I got to do is turn my butt around and go home. It's amazing what revelations we have when our face is in the pig pen. This is where you see the heart of the Father. He's like, I'll just go home and tell my dad, man, if you just put me on as a hired servant, I can work out in the stalls. I can sweep the house. I can do whatever needs done, and maybe I'll get a little bit to eat. Dad will have me out in where the servants' quarters. So he's doing all this planning, and his father sees him coming. Mike, his father didn't see him coming, except he was looking for him every day. He was saying, where is my son? Where is my son? One day he's going to come over that hill, and I'm going to see him, and I'm going to run out to him, and I'm going to meet him. And the father sees him coming when he's afar off. You'll read it in Luke chapter 15. And when he sees him, he said he ran to him, and he embraced him. And the son's like, Dad, I'm covered with pig slop. You don't need to be embracing me. And his father said, of course, the son, he's got it all figured out. He said, Dad, now here's my sermon. You don't have to have me back as a son. I'll just be a hired hand. He's going to negotiate his deal. What does his father do? Is his father condemning? Is his father, you spent half of our inheritance, son. What were you thinking? What is the heart of the Father? Forgiveness, kindness, mercy that we don't deserve. He receives them back. He said, put a robe on him. Put a ring on his finger. A ring is authority. When you got the ring of the family, you've got the family farm back. When you go down to the co-op and you stamp on that seed, it's mine. And you stamp it, that means send the bill to Dad. I'm part of the family, okay? He got the ring back. He says, put shoes on his feet. He said, go kill that one we've been saving. Kill Bessie. We're going to have dinner tonight, and we're going to call the whole people, and we're all going to eat, because my son that was dead is alive. The one that was lost has been found. You also see the heart of the Father when you see the older brother come in 10 minutes later and goes, what in the heck is going on here? Did I just have a birthday? No, your brother's back. That little brat? Yep, he's home. And Daddy's done forgave him. Oh my goodness. He hits the roof and spins around. You see the heart of the Father. The Father says, son, your brother was lost and he's found. He was dead. Now he's alive. He's like, Dad, I worked my butt off for you. And what do I get? You never. And he says, guys, he says, son, you need to rejoice. The Father can deal with both sides of us, the ones that are vindictive and that are wanting to condemn somebody for what they've done. And we've got also the ones that want to be merciful and forgive. The heart of the Father to the Son, the first son was forgiveness. To the older son was reconciliation. Son, forgive your brother. I know he screwed up. I know he impoverished us by selling half of the place. But now he's back. Let's rejoice. Let's bring him back in. Let's put the ring on his finger. Let's put the robe on his back. Let's forgive him and restore him totally. The heart of the Father. Now, as fathers, you and I, it's all nice when God is that way. But at the end of the day, we also are fathers. Either fathers that are or fathers that will be. So we need to learn the true father has a heart of love. The true father wants to forgive. I know sometimes us guys can be really hard. But a good father doesn't mash. There's a verse in the Bible that talks about a smoking flax God will not quench. And a broken reed he will not break. When God sees a reed, he doesn't just break it. He bandages it up. When he sees a candle and you want to just go, tss, he doesn't do that. He knows it's smoldering. Some of us are smoldering. God isn't one to try to put out our light. God is one who wants to bandage us up and make us whole again. That's the heart of the Father. And we as fathers to our children need to be loving, forgiving, kind. And even when they mess up, we need to restore. And we need to bless them. Amen? Amen. Happy Father's Day.